Prior to the production of my documentary, I did a lot of research into the codes of conventions and the history of the genre, so I'd be able to make a more professional looking piece at the end. I looked into the poetic mode of documentary, and I feel that my piece follows the conventions of this quite well. The topic discussed is definitely personal to the people and interviewees that are involved in my documentary, which means that the film places emphasis on an aspect of someone's life. I was able to get this very personal feel by using extreme close-up and close-up shots, which gave the whole film a more intimate feel and a more closer relationship between the audience and the people involved. My piece definitely challenged the poetic convention that documentaries of this form typically don't follow a narrative structure, because I felt mine did, as I developed it from sort of defining mental health and mental illness and having a basis to start and educate the audience, and then built it up to discuss more in-depth things, which I don't think could have been done if I hadn't started off quite basically. As I feel my documentary does have more of a narrative, I don't think it follows the poetic convention that documentaries are unedited shots linked together, because I made sure throughout that all my shots were relevant to what was being discussed and addressed by the interviewer or by the voiceover. So for example, when there was a conversation about counselling and help for people with mental illnesses, I inserted B-roll footage of a counselling session as this was relevant to what was going on in the sound. My shots also stayed related because all the statistics I showed on screen were relevant to what was being discussed at the time. I simply used text on screen to present these statistics because in my research I learned that this was one of the best ways to quickly and easily and simply get information across to the audience. So in that way I did use a convention of the documentary. Poetic documentaries persevere to create a distinct tone and mood using sound or music, and I definitely felt my documentary did this. Initially I used wide shots of Cannock Chase, and I had the natural sound of the breeze in the background, and I felt this had a very calming tone to it, which definitely developed the convention that taboo subjects like mental health that I've discussed in my documentary being portrayed as negative. I thought it developed that and turned it around a little bit. The music I then employed to sort of introduce my documentary was an instrumental track by the 1975, and although it was only used briefly, I really thought it would help to evoke an emotional response within the audience and help them feel more interested and involved in the documentary and therefore be more engaged.